Ever feel like you're just wading through endless self-help advice?
Uh,
A never-ending stream of must-dos and should-bes. It just leaves you feeling, I don't know, more overwhelmed than inspired.
oh, totally. Like you're trying to keep up with a million different trends all at once. It's exhausting.
Exactly. That's precisely what we're tackling in this deep dive, how to cut through that noise.
Precisely. Today, we're zeroing in on Frank Lazaro's book, Freak XK Them Turtles, The Illusion of Impact and How to Embrace Real Change. Quite the title.
Yeah, it is. And for you, the learner, our goal here is really to pull out the truly valuable insights from this book. The actionable steps that'll help you pinpoint what genuinely drives progress, personally and professionally. We want to equip you to focus on what matters without feeling like bogged down by all the superficial stuff. Think of it as your shortcut to understanding how to make real waves.
And yeah, that title, it immediately grabs you, doesn't it? It's certainly designed to provoke some thought.
It is, and it actually has a really down-to-earth origin story, apparently. Lazaro talks about a dinner with his young sons.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and the topic of paper straws came up.
Right.
He jokingly said something like, one restaurant using them wasn't going to save all the turtles. Hence the colorful phrase.
Right. It's a blunt way of highlighting something important, though. That difference between actions that feel significant and those that actually are significant. It forces us to consider the impact or, the lack thereof of certain efforts.
Okay, let's dig a little deeper in this turtle idea then.
Yeah.
So the paper straw isn't really about turtles, is it? It's more like a stand-in.
Exactly. A stand-in for those small, often well-intentioned actions that give us the feeling of contribution, but maybe without creating substantial change.
Right. The symbolic gesture.
The symbolic gesture, yeah, that doesn't really address the root cause. And Lazaro applies this way beyond just environmental stuff. Like, think about someone who attends, say, a single workshop on leadership, or reads one book on productivity, but then doesn't really integrate that learning into their daily habits. It might feel like progress, sure.
Feels good, yeah.
But the actual impact, probably minimal without a more sustained strategic commitment.
Right. It's like putting a tiny bandage on a much larger wound. You've done something, but it's not really addressing the core issue. So what's the better approach then, according to him?
Well, this is where it gets really interesting. Lazaro champions things like systemic change, collective effort, or intentionality.
Okay.
He argues that meaningful progress, often needs a broader perspective. So in a professional context, for instance, maybe one person or team is doing amazing work.
Right.
But their impact might be limited if the whole organization isn't really aligned towards the same strategic goals. It's about how it all connects.
That makes a lot of sense. He also touches on something I think many of us grapple with. Perfectionism.
Oh, yes.
That urge to make every single tiny detail flawless, even the really trivial ones.
Yes, and the turtle analogy challenges that too, actually. We can get so fixated on achieving minute perfection in everything we do that we lose sight of the bigger goals. We might spend ages polishing some small element instead of tackling the more complex but ultimately more impactful tasks.
So the takeaway there is...
The key takeaway is really to prioritize actions based on their potential for significant impact, even if that means sometimes letting go of the need for absolute flawlessness on every little front.
Okay. So the focus shifts away from these small, almost performative actions towards the bigger levers that actually drive real change. Now, Lazaro introduces a really thought-provoking question. Why do you care?
Yes. This is such a powerful filter, a filter for directing your limited resources, your time, your energy, your focus.
Right.
Lazaro observes that we often get drawn into what other people are doing or how they're doing it, even when it doesn't directly involve our own responsibilities or goals.
I can definitely relate to that. It's so easy to get sidetracked by other people's processes or, their perceived missteps, even when it doesn't actually affect my own work.
But the core point he makes is this. Unless it's your direct project or your specific responsibility or something that tangibly affects your outcomes, your energy is almost certainly better invested elsewhere.
On your own priorities.
Exactly, on your own priorities. Ultimately, other people's approaches are their own business, mostly. Your focus should primarily be on your sphere of influence.
So by asking, why do you care, we're essentially trying to sharpen our focus.
Yeah.
What are the actual tangible benefits of having that kind of laser-like attention?
Oh, the benefits are significant and they're kind of interconnected. You get enhanced productivity, obviously, because you're dedicating your attention to one thing, which usually means higher quality results.
Makes sense.
Then there's improved decision-making. That comes from the clarity you get by understanding your priorities, which helps you evaluate options much more effectively.
Right.
And maybe most importantly, it builds momentum. Consistent focus on your core objectives creates this positive feedback loop, right? Makes it easier to sustain effort over time. Think of focus as the amplifier for your efforts, directing all your energy to one point for maximum impact.
That's a great way to put it, like concentrating sunlight through a magnifying glass to create real heat.
Precisely. And focus is really the bedrock of effective prioritization. By constantly asking, why do you care? You're forced to critically evaluate whether a particular issue genuinely warrants your limited time and energy.
Hmm.
This whole process helps you align your daily activities with your big goals, filter out that constant stream of distractions, improve your time management, and ultimately boost your engagement because you're working on things that actually matter to you.
Okay, so how do we actually cultivate this deep focus?
Hmm.
Especially in today's world, which seems like designed to constantly pull our attention everywhere.
Yeah, it's tough. Lazaro suggests several key strategies. Setting clear, well-defined goals is number one. That acts as your compass, guides your attention. Practicing single tasking. Consciously resisting that urge to multitask. It really reduces cognitive overload, lets you concentrate deeper.
Harder than it sounds sometimes.
Oh, definitely. And counterintuitively, taking regular short breaks can actually help sustain focus over longer periods. Prevents burnout.
That makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Okay, another major theme in the book is this illusion of control. We often pour so much energy into trying to manage things that are just outside our ability to influence.
Yeah, and this pursuit of unattainable control is a huge source of stress, right? And
Yeah.
feelings of helplessness. We worry about org changes, market shifts, what other people decide or do.
All the time.
But the fundamental truth is, complete control is rarely, if ever, possible. The crucial shift, Lazaro argues, is to redirect your energy towards what you can genuinely control.
And what specifically falls into that realm? What is controllable?
Primarily your own actions, the quality of your work on your projects, how you manage your direct responsibilities. Lazaro elaborates on several key areas. First, maintaining unwavering professionalism. This includes basics like punctuality, appropriate dress, but also consistently fulfilling your commitments. These seemingly small things build a strong foundation of trust.
Absolutely. Showing up reliably, delivering on your promises.
Okay.
It speaks volumes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Next is your ability to stay calm and composed under pressure. High-pressure situations, they're inevitable pretty much everywhere.
Yeah.
But your response to that pressure, that's entirely within your control. He talks about techniques like deep breathing, mindfulness, effective time management. They can all help massively.
Right.
And also, reflecting on past stressful situations and how you navigated them, that can provide valuable insights and build resilience for the future.
So it's about consciously choosing your reaction, even when things outside feel chaotic.
Precisely. And taking a proactive stance, that's another powerful controllable. Anticipating potential challenges, taking steps to address them before they blow up into big problems.
Like looking ahead.
Yeah, regularly reviewing your work, staying informed, looking ahead. That's proactivity. Then there's your approach to handling challenges. Embracing what he calls adaptive problem solving,
Meaning?
meaning focusing on finding solutions rather than just dwelling on the problem, and considering lots of different perspectives to find the most effective way forward.
So instead of getting stuck by a roadblock, you're actively looking for ways around it.
Exactly. Emotional intelligence is also huge, understanding and managing your own emotions and being tuned in to the emotions of those around you.
Mm-hmm.
Setting a positive example, leading by influence even if you don't have a formal title, that can significantly impact team dynamics. And finally, actively contributing to a positive work environment. Open communication, recognizing others, team building,
Yeah.
all within your sphere of control.
It's actually quite empowering when you list it out like that, to realize that even amidst all the uncontrollable stuff, we have agency in so many aspects of our daily work and interactions.
Precisely. And when it comes to your project specifically, while you might not dictate every single element, you absolutely have direct control over the quality of your contribution,
Right.
the thoroughness of your work, sticking to deadlines, being reliable, and you definitely control how you manage your own responsibilities, how you prioritize, set realistic goals for yourself, continuously look for ways to improve your own effectiveness.
Okay, so we focus on what we can control.
Yeah.
But what happens when we inevitably bump up against those elements that are truly beyond our control? How do we handle the frustration, the anxiety that comes with that?
Yeah, that's where the principle of acceptance becomes absolutely crucial. Accepting that there will always be factors, situations, even other people's actions that you just cannot directly influence.
Acceptance.
Acknowledging this reality, rather than, fighting against it, can significantly reduce those feelings of frustration, anxiety, helplessness. Acceptance isn't about liking the situation or condoning it necessarily.
Right.
It's about recognizing the reality of it without resistance, just seeing it for what it is.
And what are the tangible benefits of cultivating that kind of mindset? Acceptance.
Oh, they're multifaceted. It directly reduces stress and anxiety, frees up that mental energy you were spending trying to control the uncontrollable.
Okay.
It enhances your emotional resilience, makes you better equipped to navigate setbacks and unexpected changes. It brings greater mental clarity because you're eliminating unnecessary worries, letting you focus on what you can influence.
Mm-hmm.
And ultimately, it fosters personal growth. It encourages you to adapt, to learn from situations, rather than just feeling defeated by them.
That sounds like a really powerful shift. How can we actively work on cultivating this sense of acceptance in our daily lives? It doesn't always come naturally.
No, it doesn't. Lazaro suggests several practical steps. Start by consciously acknowledging your own limitations, just recognizing what is and isn't within your power.
Okay.
Practice mindfulness. Techniques like meditation, deep breathing, or even just paying focused attention to the present moment without judgment. That helps. Reframe your perspective on difficult situations. Actively look for potential lessons or opportunities for growth within them. Learn to let go of the need for perfection in all circumstances.
That's a big one.
It is. And perhaps most importantly, consistently redirect your focus back towards those areas where you do have control. He gives some relatable examples, like accepting organizational changes at work or acknowledging the autonomy people have in personal relationships.
It really boils down to consciously choosing where to invest our mental and emotional energy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Now, building on this idea of navigating uncertainty, Lazaro really emphasizes the critical role of adaptability.
Adaptability. Yes, absolutely indispensable in today's world, which is just so dynamic, often unpredictable. It's basically the capacity to adjust your thinking, your behaviors, your actions effectively when things change or something unexpected happens.
So flexibility, resilience.
Exactly. Flexibility, resilience in the face of change, and a proactive mindset towards navigating the unknown. That's adaptability at its core.
And why is cultivating adaptability so crucial, both personally and professionally?
Well, simply because uncertainty is a constant, right? Adaptability lets you navigate those unforeseen circumstances with greater ease, less disruption. It significantly enhances your problem-solving abilities. Adaptable people are just more open to considering different approaches, thinking creatively.
Makes sense.
It fosters resilience. It helps cultivate a more positive attitude towards change, seeing challenges not as, insurmountable obstacles, but as opportunities to grow and learn. And finally, it fuels innovation. It keeps you receptive to new ideas, new tech, new ways of working, makes you more willing to experiment and evolve.
Okay, so how do we become more adaptable? Because let's be honest, it's not always our natural first response to just embrace change.
No, definitely not. Lazaro outlines several key strategies here. First, make a conscious effort to embrace change when it happens. Actively look for the potential benefits or opportunities within the new situation.
Find the upside.
Yeah, try to find the upside. Cultivate a growth mindset, that firm belief that you can learn, develop new skills, improve over time. Stay informed about what's happening in your industry, tech advancements, shifts in your environment.
Stay current.
Stay current. Commit to continuous learning courses, workshops, just seeking out new info. Practice flexibility in your planning. Be willing to adjust your strategies when things don't go as expected. And actively seek feedback from others. Different perspectives can highlight areas where you might need to adapt.
It sounds like an ongoing commitment, really. Learning, evolving, staying open. Now, even when we don't have direct control over a situation, Lazaro says we can often still exert influence.
Exactly. Influence. That's the ability to guide outcomes, decisions, actions, usually through effective communication, building strong relationships, fostering collaboration. It's a really powerful tool for achieving your goals, even when you lack direct authority or control.
Why is developing that ability, the ability to influence, so valuable?
Well, it significantly enhances your ability to collaborate effectively. You can unite people towards common objectives and allows you to sort of steer projects and decisions in a positive direction, even if you're not the one making the final call.
Right.
It's built on a foundation of trust and credibility, which makes your perspectives more persuasive. And ultimately, it extends your impact far beyond just your immediate responsibilities and direct control.
So it's about working with and through others to get things done. What are some effective strategies for developing and, wielding that influence?
Building strong, authentic relationships is absolutely foundational. This means actively listening, understanding others' perspectives and needs, showing genuine empathy.
Okay.
Clear and persuasive communication is essential. Articulating your ideas effectively, using data, logic, maybe compelling stories. Demonstrating expertise by consistently sharing your knowledge builds credibility. Collaborating inclusively, actively seeking input from others fosters ownership and buy-in. Cultivating emotional intelligence helps you navigate social interactions effectively, build rapport. And finally, persistence and resilience are key. Not all influence attempts work immediately, right? Learning from setbacks is part of it. For instance, really understanding a colleague's concerns before you present a new idea can massively increase your chances of getting their support.
It sounds like a really potent mix of interpersonal skills and strategic thinking.
Yeah.
Okay. Shifting focus slightly, Lazaro places significant emphasis on crafting the story of you.
Yes, this is all about consciously shaping your professional narrative. The story others understand about who you are, what you offer, what you aspire to. And he really underscores that your attitude plays a fundamental role in shaping this narrative.
Attitude.
Yeah, a positive, proactive, solution-oriented attitude sets a really powerful tone for that story.
So it's not just about the bullet points on your resume, but the overall impression you create. How do we actually go about intentionally crafting this compelling personal and professional story?
Well, it starts with a deep understanding of your core values, those fundamental principles that guide you. Authenticity in expressing these values builds trust, strengthens connections, and differentiates you.
Okay.
Next, focus on identifying your unique strengths, the skills and talents where you really excel, and importantly, how these have contributed to your past successes. Always back up claims with specific examples.
Show, don't just tell.
Exactly. Show, don't just tell. And be sure to showcase your key achievements, highlighting the transferable capabilities and the positive outcomes you've delivered.
Okay, it's about knowing your own worth and being able to articulate it clearly, confidently. What if you're looking to make a big career shift? To essentially reinvent yourself professionally.
Right, reinventing your professional story. That involves consciously aligning your past experiences and skills with the requirements of the new role or industry you're targeting. The key is identifying those transferable skills,
Right, the ones useful anywhere.
the ones useful across different contexts, yeah. And communicating a clear, compelling reason for your career transition. Continuous learning, acquiring relevant new knowledge, maintaining a flexible mindset, absolutely crucial.
Mm-hmm.
Seeking out mentors or advisors who've made similar shifts can also be invaluable. For example, someone moving into project management might highlight past experiences leading teams, managing budgets, problem solving, demonstrating how those skills directly apply to their new goal.
So it's about effectively bridging your past with your future goals, showing that logical connection. How do you specifically go about translating your existing skills when making a career transition?
It takes a thorough assessment of your previous roles, carefully identifying those transferable skills, leadership, communication, problem solving, strategic thinking, whatever they are. Then you need to clearly articulate the relevance of these skills to the new industry or role. Use specific examples from your past to illustrate their application and impact. Tailor your language, this is important, tailor your language to resonate with the specific terms and priorities of the new field.
Speak their language.
Speak their language. Networking within your target industry, maybe even getting some industry-specific knowledge or certifications, can significantly help translate those skills effectively.
It's about showing how your existing toolkit is valuable in a new setting. And how do you strategically leverage your past experiences to align with the demands of a new role?
You need to analyze the core requirements of the new role first. Then, identify specific situations from your past where you've directly demonstrated those qualities or achieved similar outcomes. Focus on quantifiable results whenever possible numbers strengthen your narrative. Look for broader themes or patterns in your career that highlight things like your adaptability, your learning agility, your consistent delivery of results. When you communicate your experiences, draw clear parallels between your history and the specific demands of the new role. Make it easy for them to see the connection.
So proactively connect the dots for them. Okay, what are the practical steps someone can take right now to actively craft this story of you?
It really starts with honest self-assessment. Taking the time to reflect on your career journey, key projects, roles, achievements, your core values. Get clear on that first.
Okay.
Based on that self-awareness, create a concise and compelling personal brand statement, something that encapsulates who you are and the value you bring. Remember to tailor your story for different audiences and contexts. Your resume version might differ slightly from your networking pitch.
Makes sense.
Practice delivering your narrative clearly and confidently. And importantly, actively seek feedback from trusted colleagues or mentors. That helps you continuously refine and strengthen your story.
It sounds like an ongoing process. Self-reflection, strategic communication, continuous improvement. Okay, now Lazaro shifts his attention to something really critical: taking action and building momentum.
Yeah, he kicks this off by echoing that famous Einstein quote, right? About the insanity of doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results.
Right.
Embracing change isn't just inevitable, it's fundamental for growth. This requires a really candid assessment of where you are now versus where you want to be, clearly identifying those gaps you need to bridge.
So change isn't just something that happens to us. It's something we need to actively pursue if we want to develop. How do we practically kickstart this process of doing things differently?
Well, acquiring new knowledge and skills is a big one. Formal education, workshops, certifications, even self-directed learning. All powerful ways to expand your capabilities.
Okay.
Actively seeking out and working on stretch assignments, those tasks that push you just beyond your current comfort zone, that provides invaluable hands-on experience, accelerates skill development.
Get uncomfortable.
Get a little uncomfortable, yeah. And strategically networking, building genuine relationships with others in your field that can open doors to new opportunities, mentorship, valuable insights. For instance, someone in IT might pursue a cloud certification or volunteer for a project outside their usual area to gain new skills.
Those all sound like really proactive steps anyone can take. But how do we ensure we actually follow through, build that sustained momentum?
Planning is absolutely essential. Developing a detailed plan, clear timelines, needed resources, potential obstacles identified, but maybe even more critical is just taking that initial first step.
Starting.
Just starting, no matter how small it seems. That first action sets the whole process in motion, breaks the inertia. Building momentum is often described like a snowball effect, right? Early small wins build confidence and motivation, making it easier to tackle bigger challenges later. Maintaining focus on your goals, consistently celebrating those small victories. That helps sustain forward progress and overcome the inevitable setbacks. Think of training for a marathon. The first few runs might be tough, but each one makes the next slightly easier.
It's about getting the ball rolling and then finding ways to keep it moving. What about the fear of failure? That can often paralyze us, stop us from taking that first leap.
Oh, yeah. Confronting and acting despite the fear of failure is absolutely crucial. Every step you take, honestly, regardless of the immediate outcome, builds confidence and resilience over time. It's about consciously reframing failure, not as some definitive end, but as a valuable learning opportunity. Cultivating a growth mindset, that belief that your abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work, is key here.
Right.
Start with smaller, more manageable actions to build that confidence muscle, then gradually increase the scope. And remember to reflect on your experiences, both the wins and the setbacks, and adjust your approach accordingly.
So action itself is a powerful antidote to fear, and each step forward, however small, builds confidence and momentum. Okay, so once we're actively taking action, how do we effectively manifest outcomes and, crucially, strategically, ignore the noise?
Right, manifesting desired outcomes. It really begins with setting those SMART goals we talked about. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound.
Clarity is key.
Got it. SMART goals.
Once you have those clear goals, you need to prioritize your tasks effectively. Maybe use something like the Eisenhower matrix, urgent, important, important, not urgent, etc., to ensure you're focusing on what truly moves the needle.
The important stuff, not just the urgent stuff.
Exactly. Creating a balanced schedule that allocates time for both immediate demands and those important long-term priorities is also essential.
And in our hyper-connected world, that ignoring the noise part often feels like a constant battle, doesn't it? All the distractions. Oh, absolutely. Proactively eliminating distractions is a vital skill. You need to start by identifying your most common sources of distraction, external ones like notifications, interruptions, but also internal ones like wandering thoughts.
Huh?
Leverage technology to help you. Website blockers, app timers, noise-canceling headphones. Use the tools available. Implement time management techniques like Pomodoro working in focused bursts.
Hmm.
Consciously manage digital distractions. Set specific times for email and social media. Customize those notifications. And cultivate good routines and habits that just minimize the opportunities for distraction in the first place.
It sounds like a conscious, ongoing effort to create and fiercely protect your focused work time. What about staying motivated? Maintaining that initial desire when things get tough or distractions creep in.
Yeah, that's crucial. Regularly visualize your desired outcomes. Keep your goals vivid and top of mind. Engage in activities that reignite your passion, remind you of your why.
Reconnect with the purpose.
Exactly. Break down those big goals into smaller, manageable milestones. That creates a sense of progress and accomplishment along the way. And cultivate determination, that inner drive to persevere. That involves building resilience, maintaining consistency, and maybe setting up systems for accountability.
And how do we effectively handle that constant stream of unsolicited advice or potential negative influences that can just derail our focus?
Yeah, good question. When it comes to unsolicited advice, Lazaro says, learn to trust your own vision and judgment first. Carefully consider the source of the advice. Is it credible? Relevant to your specific situation and goals?
Right.
Don't hesitate to politely decline suggestions that just don't align with where you're headed. Actively seek constructive feedback, yes, but from trusted mentors or advisors whose opinions you actually value. And ultimately, learn to trust your intuition.
Okay. And dealing with negative influences.
First, identify the sources. Toxic relationships, consistently pessimistic attitudes, know where it's coming from. Then, set clear boundaries to limit your exposure. Actively seek out positive, supportive influences instead.
Cultivate a positive internal mindset gratitude practice. Positive self-talk. Prioritize self-care to maintain your mental and emotional well-being. And if needed, don't hesitate to seek external support therapists, coaches. Always keep your goals firmly in mind. That helps you stay on track when negativity arises.
It's about being really discerning about what information and what energy you allow into your mental space. And Lazaro also stresses not getting bogged down in tasks that don't really contribute to your main goals.
Absolutely. Regularly identify those tasks that aren't meaningfully contributing. Critically assess their relevance, maybe use that Eisenhower matrix again. Delegate or automate whenever possible. Prioritize ruthlessly focused time and energy on high-impact activities.
Be ruthless.
Be a little ruthless, yeah.
Yeah.
Implement time blocking for important work. Minimize interruptions during those focused periods. And periodically reflect, are my efforts actually moving the needle? Maintaining clear focus leads to greater efficiency, clarity, steady progress. This requires self-discipline, developing routines, monitoring progress, rewarding yourself for hitting milestones. So it's about being incredibly intentional about where we point our attention in our effort. Okay, as we make progress, achieve successes, Lazaro emphasizes this vital role of becoming your own champion through effective self-promotion.
Yeah, self-promotion. And it's not about being boastful, he clarifies. It's about strategically ensuring your contributions and achievements are recognized by the people who need to know. It's pretty necessary for career advancement, building your brand, increasing visibility.
But for many people, myself included sometimes, the idea of actively selling yourself can feel uncomfortable, maybe even inauthentic.
It can, absolutely. The key is to approach it strategically and focus on communicating your value objectively. Consistently document your achievements, quantify results whenever you can. Numbers help.
Yeah.
Share your success stories in relevant contexts, highlighting the impact of your work. Leverage professional networks like LinkedIn to showcase skills and accomplishments. Actively seek opportunities to share your expertise, presentations, internal knowledge sharing. Build genuine relationships with key influencers. Use performance reviews formally to highlight contributions. Develop a clear personal brand. Mentor and support others. That often leads to recognition back. Maybe present at conferences. Solicit testimonials or endorsements.
So the focus is on facts and value.
Exactly. Focus on facts, demonstrate the value you bring, rather than just making empty claims.
So it's about making sure your value is seen and understood by the right people. How do you effectively control your professional narrative in this process?
You craft your narrative by clearly identifying your core strengths, key achievements, career aspirations. Be authentic. Let your genuine personality and values come through. Use clear, concise, compelling language to articulate your value proposition.
Be clear.
Be clear. Ensure your narrative is consistent across all platforms: LinkedIn, resume, conversations. Actively share your story, online profiles, website maybe, interviews, networking. Consider writing articles or speaking at events to establish your voice. And continuously seek feedback on how you're presenting yourself. Resilience and a growth mindset are crucial here too for handling any challenges and controlling that narrative.
It sounds like being proactive and intentional in shaping how others see your professional identity. What are some practical steps for effectively telling that story?
Be clear and concise, always. Ensure consistency across platforms. Be authentic, let your real voice come through. Overcome any fear of self-promotion by reframing it as simply sharing contributions. Practice humility, yes, but still confidently highlight achievements.
Okay.
Prepare key talking points. Have examples ready to illustrate skills and impact. Regularly update your online presence, like LinkedIn. Actively engage in networking to share your story in person. Seek speaking engagements. And don't be afraid to request testimonials or recommendations from people who can vouch for your abilities.
So actively putting yourself out there, sharing your value, building that strong, recognizable professional identity. Okay, finally, the sort of overarching principle that seems to tie all these concepts together is being intentional.
Precisely. Intentionality. It's the conscious act of making deliberate choices and taking purposeful actions to achieve your desired outcomes. It really is the underlying philosophy connecting everything we've explored from Lazaro's book.
We've covered so much ground.
Yeah,
Can you give us a quick recap of those key themes, but specifically through this lens of intentionality?
absolutely. Asking why do you care is about intentional focus of your energy, right? Recognizing the illusion of control is about intentionally directing efforts towards what you can influence. Crafting your story is intentionally shaping your identity. Taking action is intentional initiation of progress.
Okay.
Manifesting outcomes involves intentional goal setting and prioritization. Ignoring the noise is intentionally protecting your focus. And becoming your own champion is intentionally seeking recognition. It all comes back to deliberate choice.
So intentionality is the driving force behind all these different facets. What does it truly mean to live and work with intention in a practical sense?
Well, at its core, it involves having a really clear understanding of your purpose and values. It means setting those clear, smart goals that align with that purpose. It requires consciously aligning your daily actions with those big goals.
Day-to-day alignment.
Day-to-day alignment, yeah. Intentionally eliminating distractions, making informed decisions that move you closer to objectives, maintaining focus and motivation through consistent effort, adapting to change with a deliberate mindset, actively seeking support and accountability, and engaging in regular self-reflection to make sure you're on track, always with that growth mindset.
And how does this principle of intentionality specifically impact how we manage our limited resources, our time, energy, money?
Being intentional about resource use means prioritizing high-impact activities, the ones giving the biggest return on your investment of time and energy. It involves using effective time and energy management techniques like time blocking, strategic breaks. It might mean intentionally delegating or outsourcing tasks that aren't core to your strengths or goals. It requires eliminating irrelevant activities that just waste resources, leveraging tech strategically to automate or enhance efficiency, setting clear boundaries to protect your time and energy, continuously seeking improvements in how you manage resources, and regularly tracking and measuring progress to ensure effective use.
And finally, how does embracing intentionality affect our motivation levels and our resilience, our ability to bounce back from setbacks?
Well, when your actions are driven by intention, your motivation naturally increases. You have a clear understanding of the significance and purpose behind what you're doing. Setting meaningful goals that resonate with your values, focusing on activities using your strengths, committing to continuous learning all boost motivation. And intentionality definitely builds resilience. It provides that clear vision and purpose your anchor during tough times. It encourages proactive planning for obstacles, fosters a positive, solution-focused mindset, builds self-confidence through purposeful action, promotes self-awareness via reflection, enables more efficient resource management, minimizing stress, cultivates that growth mindset where setbacks are learning opportunities, and strengthens your commitment to long-term goals. Celebrating progress along the way further reinforces both motivation and resilience.
So it's about having that internal compass guiding your actions and providing the strength to navigate whatever comes your way. What are some really actionable steps listeners can take, maybe starting today, to cultivate greater intentionality in their daily lives?
Okay, practical steps. Start by setting clear, smart goals in the key areas of your life and work. Prioritize tasks, ruthlessly focus on the impactful stuff. Schedule your time, intentionally block it out for priorities. Proactively eliminate distractions. Practice mindfulness, stay present, aware of your choices.
Be present.
Seek feedback regularly to get different perspectives. Refine your approach. Reflect on your actions and outcomes. Learn and adjust. Stay organized to minimize wasted time and energy. Commit to continuous learning. And embrace change as natural, adapting your plans intentionally as needed.
So ultimately, it really all boils down to making conscious, deliberate choices and acting with clear purpose.
Precisely. Intentionality and that determined commitment to your goals are the cornerstones of achieving meaningful, lasting change. This deep dive into Frank Lazaro's Fex XK Them Turtles has hopefully provided a powerful framework for making those deliberate choices, focusing on what truly matters.
Helping you cut through the noise.
Helping you cut through that overwhelming noise of superficial advice and really take control of your own progress.
And so for you, the learner, we really urge you to take these insights and actively apply them. Apply them to the sources you've shared with us and to every aspect of your life. Start asking yourself those crucial questions. Why do I truly care about this? What aspects here are genuinely within my control? What is the story I want to tell about myself?
Which really brings us to a vital question for you to consider moving forward. In what specific ways will you now intentionally shape your future through conscious actions and deliberate choices, rather than just being passively influenced by all the external pressures and fleeting trends out there?